Hello YouTube. In this video I'm going to discuss the experience I had with the Camco company and their Rhino tote tank. My particular model was a 28-gallon and I discovered a leak on a recent trip where I was boondocking and emptied my gray tank to take to the dump station. To their credit, I called the customer support and received my tank in less than 2 weeks. There were some differences between the old tank that they were replacing and the new one they sent me. Here you see a picture of the old tank and the new tank, and on the outside they look very similar. In fact, they're exactly the same, but there are some differences in between both tanks. I will be showing you some close-up views of some of the differences in the tank. Some you can see and some you cannot. Here you can see the tow hook and the sewer hose you get with the tank. The one on the top is the old one and the one on the bottom is the new. I'll show you some close-ups of the difference. Here is the old wheel. And what you see here is a modification that a lot of people have done to the old style tank, where you drill a hole in the axle, put a couple washers and a cotter pin to keep the wheels from falling off. This seemed to be a problem with the old wheel, where they only had a pressed aluminum cap on the end of the axle and it would give out and your tank would the wheel would fall off and your tank would drag on the road, eventually developing a hole and leaking whatever you had in your tank all over the street, and that's not a good deal. Here you see the new wheel on the new tank. It's solid in the middle, and I will show you a close-up, but there's no modifications required as they have replaced the pressed aluminum cap with a groove and a C-clip to secure the wheels to the axle. Here is a close-up view of the new style wheel. You see it's solid in the middle and you can clearly see the C-clamp that is fit in a groove on the axle. We are now at the point of the video where I wanted to show you where the old tank failed and began to leak. You can see in the next picture where there's some arrows pointing to where I believe the leak occurred. You can see there's already a groove in that fill hole area. There are also two cracks that developed at the end. Here's another picture with arrows pointing to the same places. And this area is where you fill your tank with whatever you want to dump into it. Okay, I have two white arrows pointing to the spot on the old tank where the tow hook rubbed against the tank and you developed those scratch marks. The old tow hook had no protection on the end caps where it interface the tank. The new tow hooks have a rubber covering on the tip, which should prevent that from happening moving forward. So with nothing to lose, since I had a new tank, I attempted to repair the old tank, and I go through the process I used to do so. These are the items I used to repair the tank. I used a soldering gun. I used that to melt the plastic where the groove was and where the leaks were, sort of like soldering with plastic the areas where I thought was leaking. And then I created a valley in the groove so I could add that marine epoxy, which is waterproof, And the great thing about that epoxy, it is almost the exact same color as the tank. And here in the pictures you are seeing the repaired area. Now this marine epoxy from JB Weld is supposed to be sandable, drillable. I have not done that yet. I just wanted to show you the raw repair. I also covered the end cap there, even though it wasn't leaking. I just wanted to give that some extra protection. We are now moving into the testing of the repair. This is me filling up the tank, and I filled it up to the very top because I wanted to give it a good test to see if it was gonna leak or not. So here I am. I'm gonna take it for a spin around the garden to just slosh the water around and make sure that the repair would hold. So now I'm giving it a good wipe down to make sure that it was dry and that the repair was not leaking. Here is a close-up view of the repair with the water filled to the top and after I wiped it down, and it is dry. So the repair, it was successful. I don't know how long it's gonna last, the longevity, but I'm fairly confident, and I'm gonna keep this tank as a spare just in case the new one develops a leak as well. If you found this video useful, please like and subscribe to my channel. I have all sorts of content dealing with RVs and all the associated things that go along with it. And I'll see you on the next video. Take care and be safe.